So here's my tank again. I'm going to isolate the body once again just so I can get in there and work on just the body. I'm using rotate, and I'm using the rotate with the little yellow dot in the middle so that it rotates around the tank. I also have a symmetry modifier on the tank, so I'm going to go to Polygon under Edit Poly and make sure that the Show End Result button is depressed. And I can select polygons here on the orange meshed side of the tank. That's the original side. The other side is the symmetry side. And what I'm going to do is to select some polygons and hit the bevel button, the little box next to bevel. And we've used this in class. I can adjust the height. I can adjust the outline amount. There's some other sections of bevel poly here to the left. You can see them. They say group, local normal, and polygon. Those are the parts we're going to deal with here in a second. I'm going to apply this. And when you hit apply, the exact same result that you did before is added to the stack of bevels. And this is how you can make long lines of segmented bevels, is by using the apply button. I'm going to put this back to where it was because that's just a test piece. And I'm going to go select these polygons down here. These surfaces are a little bit more uneven down here. You can see that it's a pretty twisted surface. It's not flat. There's nothing flat about it, which means that the normals are facing in different directions. And so what I'm going to do, using my height adjustment, you can see that the bevel comes straight out when it's on group. When it's on local normal, the bevel twists a little bit to match up with the direction the polygons are facing. This is useful for curved surfaces like cylinders, spheres, and surfaces like what we have here that are a little bit bent. And you can see the differences there between local, normal, and group. Now I'm going to go back here to the back of my tank and grab some of the polygons on these spherical gas tank structures back here. And you'll really see how local, normal, and group work. Right now it's on group. You can see that they come straight out, kind of an averaging of all the curves that are being beveled. And local normal will make the bevel come straight out along the normal of the polygon. So if that doesn't make any sense, again, you can hit both and you can just see which one looks best. You can see here, as I jump between group and local normal, that I'm getting slightly different results. So hit both and make sure you get which one. Now by polygon, we'll segment each piece and you'll get this serrated look that it's basically beveling each polygon separately and not connecting the shared edges. So sometimes that's useful. I don't use that a lot, but you can use it. Okay. And I'm going to exit out of isolation mode. That's pretty much it for bevel. There's not a lot more to cover in bevel that we haven't covered in class. Now I'm going to play around with stripping out, or not stripping out, but creating polygons that have either been deleted or that were never there in the first place. So this is fairly easy to do, and it's something you will probably need to do a lot. I'm going to delete this polygon. So all I did was I selected it and hit delete on the keyboard, and delete on the keyboard is right above the arrow keys. So I have a hole in my tank. I need to make a new polygon, so with polygon selected as my sub-object, I go down to create, and when create is depressed, I get these little blue vertices showing on my tank, and when I mouse over them, I get a little star-like cursor that means I can use those. So I'm going to left click again, and left click again, and you'll get that little outline, kind of like a path in Photoshop, and then when you get back to where you started, you'll have a new polygon. It'll make multi-sided polygons, but we want to keep our polygons to 5 or 3 sides if possible. So here's a 3-sided one. I hit delete on the keyboard to delete it, hit create, and I'm going to left click, and go back to where I started, and I have a new polygon when I'm all done. a lot of times we'll need to make polygons to kind of seam structures into the tank. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to make a cylinder here, and I'm going to, over about the next 30 seconds, I'm going to position that cylinder on the side of the tank by rotating it around a little bit. I'm going to squish it down here, and you'll see me playing with the settings of the cylinder a little bit. I don't need segments in it for what I'm going to do, and I don't want a lot of sides because it gets, the more sides you have, the harder it is. So I made it about 12 sides there, or 8 sides, I guess. Now I'm going to position this in the side of the tank. I'm going to rotate it around so that it's sticking straight out from that polygon that you see there, that big one there in the fender. And there we go. We'll rotate this around just to see what we've got. I need to rotate it a little bit more on that axis, and there we go. So it's sticking straight out of the side of the tank. Now let's say we wanted this seamed into the tank. In other words, we wanted to make it part of the tank, not just sticking through the tank. What that'll get us is a better render. You can see right here the edges of this are really sharp. They're not blending with the rest of the tank because they're two separate objects. I'm going to convert the cylinder to an edit poly, which will allow me to get to attach in a little bit. I'm going to go back to the tank body, and I'm going to make sure polygon, oh no, I'm not, I'm attaching the cylinder to the tank. Okay, so I hit attach under edit poly on the tank, and I attached it. Now it's all part of the tank. That's why they're the same color. And if that didn't make sense, go back and watch that part of the video again, because I didn't really describe that very good. Okay, now I've got element selected, which means it's going to take a piece of the tank that was created separately. And now I'm positioning that cylinder so that the end of the cylinder is right up against the tank. This makes it easier to attach by deleting polygons and recreating them. Now that cylinder has a bottom polygon that I'm going to have to select. I'm going to go under polygon here. First I'm going to delete that polygon that the cylinder is going to intersect. And now I'm going to rotate around and go to Alt-X mode here in a second with the tank selected, tank body. And what I'm looking for is that end piece of the cylinder. It's right in there. And I know it's right there. You can barely see it. And I'm going to delete that so that my cylinder has an open edge. You can only create polygons to open edges. So that's why I had to delete that bottom part of the cylinder. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go under Create. And because they're all one object and they have open edges, I'm going to left click, and back. And I'm going to make these little triangle pieces that are kind of the guide pieces for seaming this cylinder into the tank. You'll see me do the same thing over here. It really doesn't matter where you attach them, as long as they're 3 or 4-sided polygons that you're making. And you'll see me make another one here. So now all the corners are pieced in. This kind of anchors that piece in. And now all I need to do is fill in the rest of the polygons here that need to be created. There's a 4-sided one. This one's going to be a 3-sided one. There's going to be another 3-sided one over here. There we go. And another 3-sided one to connect all this side together. Try to keep them from being long and skinny. The renderer doesn't do well with long and skinny, but all these are fine. And this is a 4-sided one here. And now I've recreated polygons all the way around the tank that are newly created by myself, so I'm not relying on the software to do it. And that cylinder that I've got is completely seamed into the side of the tank and all part of the original object. I don't really like it, but that's how you would do it if you wanted a cylinder sticking out of the side of the tank. I'm going to not save this. It won't be part of the final tank. Now the last thing we're going to do here after I reset this and get back to my original tank here. Here's my original scene. is we're going to use soft selection to adjust some of the parts of our tank. Soft selection is very easy to use, but it allows you to move parts of the tank without overstretching areas or distorting areas. So here's what would happen if I just grab some vertices. I'll get my symmetry set back up here, go back down the stack to vertices under Edit Poly and make sure Show End Result is on. And let me get my scene set up. So you can watch if I move this part back, you can see that it's distorted where those gas tanks are. Because all I'm really doing is I'm just grabbing some vertices and moving them. I can control click on vertices, and I could get in there and very carefully just select the vertices I want, but that's a lot of work and the chances of distorting something are pretty high. So what you want to do is go under Soft Selection. It's located under Edit Poly. There's a little tab there that you'll have to drop down. Use the check mark that says Use Soft Selection, and then ramp up the fall off so you see those rainbow colors. The red in the rainbow colors means full effect, the blue means no effect, and everything in between, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, are an averaging of the effect. So now when I move this piece, let me select a new piece here. So let's select, say, this piece here. When I move this piece, it averages all those vertices together and they kind of blend like clay. So it's kind of like the whole thing is really soft and you can just nudge things around without distorting huge areas or ripping polygon areas apart. So you can see it's just like clay. It just kind of bows out areas. You control the effect using the fall off setting under Soft Selection. So I can make my entire tank thinner, whatever, bigger, and all I'm doing is I'm just kind of using the effect to stretch areas. You can see it there really kind of bending and flexing when you use Soft Selection. Make sure you remember to turn Soft Selection off when you're done, or everything will have Soft Selection applied to it. Also play around with applying modifiers onto areas with Soft Selection already applied, and the modifier effect will fall off over the course of the soft selected area. So that's it for this last piece. You've now got 10 little hints that will help you with your tank modeling. Some of these we did in class, some of them we didn't, but this should, if you watched all the way through these, you'll have a little bit more information than others, and hopefully that will help you get a little bit better tank and have a little bit more fun with the program.